Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is Monday, the 7th of April, 2025, and once again, making the musical statement to the legacy media and those in government that are more concerned about their power and profits. I got news for you, folks.
You won't be trusted anymore.
Anyway, off we go on another adventure in broadcasting, and this is these are the WTF reports. I'm your host, Dave vonKleist, and I implore you, I respectfully request that you visit our website, TheWTFReports.com. You can listen to the archives if you've missed a show. You can listen anytime you want. And you can also listen live. And for that reason, I'm going to give out the phone number right now. If you'd like to call in, and I'll open the lines. We're going to have some open lines. I have some things to talk about, but I want to hear what you have to say. And so the phone number here is 215-867-8255. Again, that's area code 215-867-8255. And this broadcast is brought to you in part by Blackout Coffee. And I don't know about you, but coffee is one of those things that I have to have. You know, it's one of those staples, and I love to have a good, solid cup of coffee. I drink it straight black. And Blackout Coffee's got a bunch of good stuff there. Second Amendment coffee, I mean, they're very patriotic there. They support first responders, veterans, and police officers. And for that reason alone, that's a good reason to do business with Blackout Coffee. And besides, you're going to get a really good cup of coffee. So anyway, visit our website, go to the sponsors page, and do business with TheWTFReports.com. Okay, right off the bat, let's see. I'm going to throw a couple of ideas out there for you, and these can be topics of discussion if you'd like to call in. First off, let's say there's a school shooter, a horrible situation. Some maniac has gone into a school, and they're killing the children and the teachers. All right, so how do we handle it? Well, why don't we just bomb the school? Make sense to you? Yeah. Just bomb the whole place. That way you get rid of the school shooter. Yeah, that's a surefire way to get rid of the school shooter. But a lot of people would say, "Oh my gosh, that's crazy. What are you talking about, Dave? What do you mean bomb the school?" Well, that's what's been going on in Palestine. Think about it. I mean, they're bombing hospitals, schools, they're bombing everything and everybody to get rid of Hamas. Which, by the way, was created by Bibi Netanyahu back, 20-odd years ago. Okay? That's what's going on. And if you can't figure that out, I don't know what to say. And the sad fact is that they, the quote-unquote they, the powers that be, don't want you talking about this stuff. And if you dare to raise your voice in protest of what Israel's doing in Palestine, well, guess what? They're going to come after you. You can't criticize Israel because that means you're an anti-Semite, right? Well, we've talked about this over and over on this broadcast. We know, and the world is now finding out, that the Palestinians are the Semites and the Israelis are not. So if you want to be anti-Semitic, well, that means you're opposed to Israel. Excuse me. Israel are the anti-Semites. At least that's the way I see it. I could be crazy, but I'm not. I could be stupid, but I'm not. And I'll tell you something, I don't lie. When I see something that's the truth and that's verifiable, I will scream it from the rooftops. Been doing that for 3 decades now. And as they say, no good deeds go unpunished. Well, that holds true today. Anybody speaking out against Israel and their methodology of bombing the school to get rid of a school shooter, well, then you must be an anti-Semitic Jew hater and stuff like that. I implore all the good Jews out there, you've got to stand up against Israel because Israel is not your friend. And the Jews out there that are silent and allowing Israel to go ahead and participate in this annihilation, this extermination, this genocide, dare I say. Silence is consent. And all the people out there that are protesting, sometimes even a stop clock is right twice a day. And I may not agree with a lot of the liberal policies out there, but it's the liberals that are out there protesting against Israel. And I say, hear, hear. They're absolutely right. And the powers of, I just can't understand. Like people like Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino, what is wrong with your brain? I'm scared to death now. He's assistant director of the FBI because he can't seem to figure out where those Epstein files went. Now, some Middle Eastern countries got their hands on it. Don't know which one it could be. Bongino, you know damn well where they went. And so does this government. And this is one of the reasons, and I don't know why, but it seems that Israel has most of the Congress's balls in a vice. And whether it be because of the money that they're being paid through AIPAC, of course, money talks. The more money, the more it talks. And then there's also the possibility that many of them are being blackmailed. I think that's more of a likely scenario. But anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. This is the mentality that we're dealing with right now. It's okay to bomb the school if there's a school shooter in there. That's exactly the mentality that they're using over there in Palestine. It's okay to bomb the entire Gaza Strip, level the place, kill everybody. Oh, by the way, and the snipers, yeah, they're taking headshots at children. Oh, but that was just a mistake. Yeah, despite the fact that the kid got shot twice. Yeah. And I saw a horrible video over the weekend. Some IDF soldiers grabbed this kid. He was probably 11 or 12 years old. His mother was screaming. And one soldier was restraining the mother while the other two soldiers held the kid down, took a boulder, and broke his legs because they were defending themselves. Yeah. If you condone this, there's something wrong with your brain. And it's getting increasingly obvious that there are a lot of people who have a lot of stuff wrong with their brain. This whole diversity issue. Let me paint a picture for you, okay? Let's say you've got all your favorite foods. You've got your veggies, you got broccoli, you got carrots, you got all your favorite veggies. Yum, yum, yum. And your favorite fruits too. Yum, 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 yum. And your protein. You like to have, tacos, and you like steak, and you like fish, and you like chicken. Yum, 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 yum. And all these flavors are different. Okay? Well, let's say that we're going to take all those fruits and throw them in a blender. Yep, the grapes, the apples, the bananas, the orange, everything. All those fruits in there, yeah. And now we're going to grab all the protein, all the chicken and all the beef and all the pork and seafood, and throw that in the blender too, okay? And let me see. Even the stuff that you don't like. Like some people don't like liver. I'm one of those people, I don't like liver. But I'm going to throw that liver in there anyway. Throw that liver in there. And down in South America, they eat chinchullinas. Chinchullinas are intestines. And I find them vile. Oh, ugh, horrible. Let's throw those in the blender too. Throw that in the blender. Okay, yeah. And now also there are some cultures that eat brains. Yeah, well, let's throw them in there too. Throw it all in there because we're going to make a real diversity food. Yeah, it's got everything in there. Everything. So you put it in there and you puree it. And this is what you get to eat for the rest of your life. Everything. It's all mixed together. You're going to have that for breakfast, lunch, dinner. You're going to have it every day for the rest of your life. Sounds great, doesn't it? Well, that's sort of what this diversity BS is all about. Let's bring every culture together in this wonderful country. Yes, it's a melting pot. Yes, we're going to take all these cultures, from Africa and from the Middle East and from the Far East and from Europe, and we're throwing everything, all these cultures and languages and traditions and history, throw it all in the blender. Blend it up. And now, that's what you get. Sounds like a good idea? I don't think so. I think the fact that we do have all these different wonderful cultures and traditions and history from all these different cultures all over the world, that's what makes this world so wonderful. But what's happening now, and what's been happening for the past several years since they opened up the borders. It was, well, yes, we want diversity. Yeah. Well, guess what? You're going to get it if we keep going this way, and then everything will be the same. What do you think of that? That's not such a great idea, is it? All right, I want to hear what you have to say. I'm opening up the phone lines. This is your opportunity to call in 215-867-8255. The line is open. You can call in anytime. I want to hear what you have to say about the diversity. All right. In the meantime, over the weekend, we had huge protests all over the country. I think it was like 1,300 cities, something like that, 1,200, 1,300 cities. And they all had this take Trump out of office. I don't want to say the wrong words because I could get tagged. But the bottom line here, they all want it. This is an anti-Trump, coast-to-coast rally, coast-to-coast demonstrations. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of people that went out into these and videotaped some of the conversations that they had with some of these people. And I got to tell you, they are absolutely off the rails. Off the rails. As a matter of fact, they are so off the rails. Well, look at this. Over the past couple days, and this seems like it's an unrelated topic, but it is related. Okay, they were having an ultimate Frisbee competition, and it was the women's category. And one of the women stepped up, and it was her turn to shoot, and she pulled her arm back like she was going to swing it, and then she stopped. And she turned and said to the rest of the people watching, she says, I'm not going to compete in a woman's event when we have a man who thinks he's a woman that's competing. And everybody's jaw dropped. She put her Frisbee in the backpack, and she walked away. And a bunch of people applauded her, and I would have too. Okay, so, people are starting to stand up. And then, of course, it's in the news. It's all over the news. In a women's fencing competition, a woman discovered that she was going to be, her opponent was a man who identified as a woman. So she took a knee. Good for you, sweetheart. And she was disqualified. I mean, this is the insanity. I mean, it's absolute bat crap bonkers what's going on. Over there in the UK, in the women's final in billiards, there were two men who identified as women, and they made it into the finals. They pushed all the women out. And this is diversity. I'm telling you, you folks out there on the left, you've lost your ever-loving minds. You think, and it couldn't get even, you want to hear how I can't even find the words, how bad it's gotten? Piers Morgan, over the weekend, was talking to Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines is the woman who who should have won the Olympic medal, but she lost it to a man who identified as a woman. Now, down the road, yes, they finally disqualified him and gave her the medals. But it stole the glory from her. She was supposed to be on that podium, not him. But the bottom line here is Piers Morgan was interviewing Riley Gaines and a woman who she calls herself Blossom. Now, this is only like a 30-second clip. But if this doesn't make you, say, WTF, I mean, the insanity is just, the needle is pinning out. The needle has broken the glass. Here, listen to this very brief exchange. And again, Piers Morgan talking with Riley Gaines and Blossom. Here it is.
Absurd from top to bottom, saying there should be a gender-neutral Olympics.
I know.
Are you serious?
Madness.
Do you also believe, Blossom, that we should combine the Paralympics and the Olympics? I would love to hear an answer to that.
Okay, I'll ask her. Bring back Blossom. Blossom, should we combine the Paralympics with the regular Olympics? Have them all compete with each other?
I mean, why not? And to go back to Riley's point,
why not? You are completely insane.
Oh my
go back to that last point.
It's just insane. How can you justify this mentality? And I can't imagine that there are liberals out there that would agree with that. However, peer pressure is extremely powerful. And if you're hanging out with other liberals out there, and some of them are going along with this, well, then the chances are you're going to go along with this too, because you don't want to be canceled. You don't want to be pushed to the side. No, you don't want that to happen. So you'd rather go along with the insanity than speak the truth. Nobody wants to be canceled, but you know what? I don't care. Cancel me if you want.
'Cause you can't cancel all of us, and you're more than welcome to try. But you can't cancel all of us, 'cause we're standing here side by side.
No, you can't cancel all of us. And you know what? There's a whole lot more of us than there are of you out there, liberals. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be confrontational. And you know, conservatives, we don't want to hurt you. We don't want to do anything. We're offering an open hand and not a clenched fist. We just want you to open your eyes, look at reality, you know, pay attention, instead of consuming the intellectual fecal matter being, you know, flooded into your culture from the blue fire hose. I mean, this is not hard stuff to figure out, but my God, you've got to somehow understand that conservatives don't want to hurt the liberals. The liberals want to kill the conservatives for their efforts. That's where we're at. I mean, it doesn't make any difference what the topic is, because everything, according to the liberals, comes back to Orange Man bad. They're all screaming. Like I said, over this weekend, we had, you know, all these demonstrations and protests all over the country, and they're screaming that, you know, Elon Musk is a Nazi, and Elon Musk is going to destroy the country, and Trump has got to go, and they're taking your Social Security, and they're destroying your Medicare, and they're taking away your Medicaid. That's all horse hockey. It's BS. Let me take you back about 30 years. Remember under the Clinton-Gore administration? Well, guess what? They were talking about eliminating government waste. Yeah. Let's listen to them. Let's listen to what they had to say.
This report tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy.
That's Al Gore.
Change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
I've read it.
There's Clinton.
It says the president should, the president will.
Among the 800 recommendations, eliminating 12% of the federal workforce, merging some government agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, closing hundreds of government offices outside Washington.
From the day I took office, one
There's
of the
Obama.
commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small, in a systematic way. It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now. A lot of the action is in Congress and legislative, but in the meantime, we don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign Cut Waste. And we're going to keep on finding every possible way that we can do that, even if Congress is not acting. There you go.
Isn't that amazing? So you just heard Al Gore, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama all saying that they have to get into the government, they have to cut programs and cut waste. And my gosh, it's okay when they do it. It's okay if Obama does it or if Clinton does it. But God forbid President Trump should come in there and have Elon Musk go in there and try to save Social Security. I mean, you liberals out there, I just don't understand why you're not getting it. Yes, I do. Yes, I do understand it. It's because you've closed your eyes, plugged your ears, and you're going, la, 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 orange man bad, la, 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 orange man bad, la, 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 orange man bad. Orange man bad, orange man bad. It's insane. As a matter of fact, let me see. I got another clip here of President Obama discussing this exact thing. Let me see if I can pull this one up. Here we go.
Budget reform is not an option. It's a necessity.
The American people are entitled to transparency.
We can't sustain
There's
a
Biden.
system that bleeds billions of taxpayer dollars on programs that have outlived their usefulness or exist solely because of the power of politicians lobbyists, or interest groups.
They're entitled to be able to figure out where their dollars are going, and they're entitled to accountability to make sure that we're using the dollars for what we said it was for.
We are going to go through our federal budget, as I promised during the campaign, page by page, line by line, eliminating those programs we don't need and insisting that those that we do need operate in a sensible, cost-effective way. What should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody.
We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue.
No amount of waste is acceptable, not when it's your money.
That's right. And it's okay if Barack Obama says it. It's okay if Joe Biden says it. But if Trump or Elon Musk say it, orange man bad, orange man bad. I mean, you guys are just beyond. I can't find the words. I'm just, it's staggering. It is staggering. The stench of the hypocrisy curls my nose hairs. Unbelievable. Anyway, I want to get your take on this. Phone lines are open. And this is a new system we have in place. I don't know. We'll see if it works. Hey, why don't you come on up and be a guinea pig on the phone lines? 215-867-8255. That's the number to call, and I'll put you right on the air if you'd like. Anyway, let's see. I got so much stuff going on. Oh, yeah, on the same subject, here's 1996. Chuck Schumer on the same topic. Here he is.
Thank the gentleman, salute him for his work on this, rise in support of the amendment. First of all, Social Security card is used from one end of America to the other as an identification card right now. Who are we kidding? If you want to pass a law and says it shouldn't be, I would ask the chairman and the distinguished minority member of the Social Security committee to pass that law, but let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment.
Wow.
All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
Wow.
And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find without it changing the actions of the government one bit. And we find all this opposition. Ladies and gentlemen of this chamber, what I worry about is that this bill, which started out with good intentions, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, is going to end up being the same kind of thing that the public gets angry with us on. We say we're doing something, and we do nothing. Because every time someone makes a rational and small proposal to get something done, people say, well, what about this hypothetical, that hypothetical, etc. I urge support of this amendment. If you believe you want to stop fraud in immigration, you have no choice but to support this amendment.
Bingo. That was 29 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. That was Chucky Schumer in 1996 on the House floor saying exactly the same thing that Trump and Elon Musk are actually doing. And you just heard, Schumer was saying, a lot of people say that they're going to do this, but nothing changes and they don't do it. Well, that's the difference between former administrations and the one we've got now. Trump campaigned on reforming all this stuff and cutting the waste. He had Elon Musk right on stage with him going all the way back to August, saying that this is what they were going to do. And this is why the American people said, yes, that's what we want. And that's why he had such a large turnout and the people voted and basically created a mandate. Get it done. We've been hearing about this for decades and nobody ever does anything about it. Obama. Nobody ever did anything about it. Joe Biden. Nobody ever did anything about it. Bill Clinton. They talk a good talk, but they don't get it. They don't do it. So now here's Trump doing it. And of course, the liberal media, orange man bad, orange man bad. That's what they're doing. And of course, all the liberals out there, because That's what they consume. When you consume intellectual fecal matter, you end up with stuff for brains. And that's what we got. Unbelievable. And meanwhile, over the, like I said, over the weekend, we got all these protests out there. And I saw people with their signs, don't mess with our Social Security. Your Social Security's been messed with for decades, as Chuck Schumer pointed out 29 years ago. It's been going on for years. And of course, last week in Wisconsin, Musk was there. It was a week ago today. And they were pointing out the fact that they were absolutely gobsmacked when they found out how much fraud was going on in the Social Security Department. How many hundreds of thousands of Social Security cards were issued to immigrants that just came across the border. Hi, welcome to the United States of America. Guess what? You got a free Social Security card. Not only that, but wait, there's more. Now we're going to give you Medicare and Medicaid. And oh, by the way, your Social Security benefits are right up there to the max. Yes, I know. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans who have paid into their Social Security all their lives, and they're at a certain rate, maybe $1,000, maybe $1,100 a month. But guess what? You get the maximum amount. Plus, you get free health care, free housing, food stamps, SNAP. You get it all. Come on across the border. And of course, those of us pointing that out, the orange man bad. Freaking crazy, insane people. The same people. I got to play that clip again. I have the Riley Gaines. This is how stupid, how insane this stuff is. I'm going to play it again. Again, Riley Gaines with Pierce Morgan and Blossom. Yeah, right.
From top to bottom, saying there should be a gender-neutral Olympics?
I know.
Are you serious?
Madness.
Do you also believe, Blossom, that we should combine the Paralympics and the Olympics? I would love to hear an answer to that.
Okay, I'll ask her. Bring back Blossom. Blossom, should we combine the Paralympics with the regular Olympics? Have them all compete with each other?
I mean, why not? And to go back to Riley's point to
why
that
not?
last point.
Okay, you are completely insane.
I'm just, I mean, seriously, I mean, how does their brains work? I mean, okay, here's another scenario for you. Let's say we get all I think there's an organization for all the short people out there, the dwarfs and the midgets and the short people, okay? Well, maybe we should put together a basketball team and say, okay, we should have a diverse, do you see where I'm going with this? It's insane. Just crazy. I don't know. I'm going to take a quick break. Here we go. Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary. And you can visit our website, don't forget TheWTFreports.com. Visit the sponsors page and Get More Tank. You won't be sorry. I've been using it now for 8 or 9 months, and my car runs great. I got a problem with brakes and calipers, but that's got nothing to do with it. But no, my engine runs great. When I hit the gas, it goes, and I'm saving about 17% of my mileage, which means one purchase of Get More Tank, and you'll save a tank of gas. Let's see, I'm going to spend $20 and save $50. That's on one purchase. That's a no-brainer, folks. Go to the website, TheWTFReports.com. Go to the sponsors page and Get More Tank. And while you're there, you may want to check out the Wave Watch. Now, I'm running a little test with a friend of mine right now, and when that test is over, I'm going to see if I can get a testimonial and see what this person has to say, because they've had a couple of issues, and I was talking to them yesterday, and it made me smile. So if you're curious to find out about the Wave Watch, again, go to our sponsors page and click on Wave Watch. And by the way, if you decide to purchase, you will have a hefty discount. Yes, you will. Okay. And by the way, the Wave Watch is a Rife machine that you wear on your wrist. If you've never done any research on Rife machines, I suggest you do so. And then you'll find out what a marvel in technology that this little device is, because it's using the Rife technology and frequencies to put directly into your body through little speakers on the back of a wristwatch. And the results, well, they're pretty interesting. And again, this is for your entertainment and educational purposes only, and there are no claims that this is going to treat or cure anything. I have to have that disclaimer in there. But, hey, it's worth a try. I mean, we all know where Big Pharma is and what their purpose is, and it sure has got nothing to do with healing anybody or curing anybody. They want to treat you. Oh, absolutely. They want a repeat customer. You know, repeat customers guarantees good business. That's why there's no cures out there. So anyway, go to the website, TheWTFReports.com, and click on the sponsors page. Help us keep the lights on here. We want to grow the program. And by the way, if you are listening on BitChute or on YouTube or on Rumble, please like it, subscribe, help us out, grow the channel. Okay. In the meantime, I have to say, you know, there's no joy in "I told you so" for either party. You know, I've been out there screaming from the rooftops for 30 years now. And as a matter of fact, it was in 96. That was 29 years ago. I released my first album, and the title cut was called "Will Someone Listen?" And it stands true today. I'm going to play it right now. And by the way, if you want to join me, the phone line is open, 215-867-8255. Give me a call, and we'll get you right on the air. In the meantime, in between time, here we go.
It's been going on for year after year, and so many have shed many a tear. And when they sit down to cry, they never question or try to find an answer. That's the way it's been for oh so long, and you're so used to it you don't see what's wrong. It's in your history, and if you just look and see that it's repeating. When lawyers' litigation goes without examination, you can bet that it won't take very long. With rules and regulations and without representation, pretty soon you'll sing a slavery song. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel. You didn't know what was real. You'll learn the hard way. How can you get someone to hear when their ears are filled with self-imposed fear? If there's a voice in the crowd that shouts a message out loud, will someone listen? And how can you get someone to see when they can't bring themselves to turn off TV? If someone turns on a light, will others join in the fight or turn a blind eye? When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel. You didn't care what was real. You'll learn the hard way. education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free. It creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day. You've been asleep at the wheel, you didn't care what was real, you'll learn the hard way. Will someone listen or turn a blind eye?
Yeah, will someone listen? Or will you turn a blind eye? Yeah, the Bible says that there are none so blind than those with eyes that will not see. Not cannot see, but will not see. They refuse to look. And none so deaf than those with ears that will not hear. Nope, that means you covering up the ears, close the eyes, and go, la, 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 orange man bad, la, 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 orange man bad. That's what we got going on right now. And now, I got to tell you, I am not a Trump tard. I am not 100% on board with some of the stuff that Trump is doing. And some of the stuff that I don't agree with, I very, very, very strongly disagree with. I don't agree with his parading Larry Ellison out from Oracle, was it about a month ago? But he brought him out and said, yeah, we're going to have a surveillance system that is going to be unrivaled. Oh, really? They want to watch everything? That sounds like what's going on in the UK. Yeah, that's what he was saying. Now, wait a second. I don't agree with that. And what really made me, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up is when he said he wants to design a vaccine that is tailor-made to your DNA. Oh, that's a great idea. We talked about that this past Friday. By the way, if you didn't hear last Friday's show, it's at our website. Go to TheWTFReports.com. Scroll down, listen to last Friday's show. I mean, if that isn't sobering information, I don't know what is. I'm trying to do the best I can with all my years of experience in watching and reading and all this other stuff, put this stuff together so maybe you can think outside the cage. But anyway, yeah, like I said, there's no joy in I told you so for either party. And that sentiment was reflected in the song that I just played, and it's been going on for years. It's not going to change, folks. Humanity, you've got some choices to make. And I don't care if you're here in the United States listening to this broadcast or if you're overseas listening to the broadcast, doesn't make any difference. Humanity is at a crossroads right now. We are going to have to decide what's more important. Is our ego and our pride more important than the survival of our species? Well, by the actions being taken by a lot of these elected and unelected officials, it seems to be the case. They're more concerned with maintaining their profit and their power than they are with humanity. Seriously, that's what it comes down to. And all this talk about, saving the planet, we have global warming. We have to get rid of all of the fossil fuels, which aren't really fossil fuels anyway. But the point is we have to change everything, go to windmills and go to solar panels and all this other. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not going to happen. The only solution is for us to dethrone the people who are in charge, and they've been in charge for generations now, and they've had a stranglehold and a chokehold on any new technologies that come out that could solve the problems, and yet those technologies threaten the purse. They threaten their profits. They threaten their power. Zero-point energy, magnet power, Stan Meyer technology. I mean, these technologies are real. They've been around for a long, long time. A long, 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 long time. But thanks to the Rockefeller mentality, remember his motto was, John D. Rockefeller, his motto was, competition is sin. That's why he got rid of the rail industry. He had very heavy interests in petroleum, in oil. And, hey, that's why we got to have trucks and cars and, all this stuff and diesel train. Well, not that many trains anymore. Have you ever looked at the map of Europe and seen how many railroad systems there are all over Europe? My gosh, it looks, it's just covered with rail. But here in the United States, no, they've been ripping up all the rails. So, I mean, we're doing the exact opposite of what needs to be done. And more people are finding out. And again, I point at the demonstrations that went on this weekend and some of the videos that I've seen and some of the conversations that they were having. I mean, my gosh, the people are they just don't get it. They just don't have a clue. One guy was, had a big sign. He says, get rid of the fascists. And the guy doesn't even know what a fascist is. They're just out there because, well, many of them, from the investigations are showing, many are being paid. Many were bussed in, sort of like during the Kamala Harris campaign, all those buses of people that were being brought in. It's the same deal. They can't get any real support, so they have to hire people. And, and more, people who formerly were liberals, and I was one of them. As a young man, I was absolutely liberal, But then, there's an old saying, if you're young and not liberal, you have no heart. But if you're mature and not conservative, you have no brain. And there's a lot of truth in that. But a lot of people, a lot of liberals out there, a lot of former Democrats, they've come to their senses and saying, hey, wait a second, I realize what's going on. And they feel betrayed. I played this sometime last week, and this is worth hearing again. This is a gentleman who basically came to the realization that he'd been lied to all these years. Here it is.
I've been trying to find the right word of how I feel about what's going on. The revelation of all this stuff that's going on as far as the money that's being exposed that has been sent and how they have abused the system and the corruption and everything like that. And the best word I can come up with as a 67-year-old United States citizen born in St. Joseph's Hospital of Orange, California, 1957. Long time ago. And my dad fought in that Second World War, and my grandfather fought in the First World War, and my brother was in the service during Nam. He didn't go to Nam. I have a nephew that's in the Army right now. The betrayal that I feel for that's the word. It's betrayal. It's betrayal. That's the word that I'm feeling. I'm feeling like the country that I grew up in and that I supported with a waving of a flag and a singing of a song and with all this emotion and all this grit has betrayed me, but not just me. Every single person who's ever been born in this country. We've all been betrayed, and yet watch the people who want to keep the betrayal going. That is what tears me up and makes me more angry, is that you've used me. You used my grandfather, my dad. Since we got here in 1638, my family's been here a long time. And every single conflict that we've been in, my family is part of it. Either as an officer or an infantry guy or a chaplain or somebody, we had a book that's really thick that expresses our history. Every one of those people are betrayed. Today, we're all betrayed by this corrupt government that is now being exposed, but by God, and I'm not cursing, I'm just saying, by God, may the betrayal be vindicated. That's all I'm saying. May the betrayal be vindicated.
Yeah. I don't know if vindicated is the right word, but I think we all know what he meant. Yes, because people are realizing once they pull the scales off of their eyes and they can see exactly what's been done to them and their family and what is going to continually be done to them and their family unless the course is corrected. Yes, it is betrayal. There is no doubt about it. None whatsoever. I mean, you can't sugarcoat that. You really can't. And like, for instance, did you know Jasmine Crockett? Jasmine Crockett, she admitted that she's a DEI hire. She says, yeah, I was elected because I'm a black woman. Okay. Well, so that's, again, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Martin Luther King is spinning in his grave. Because if you're hiring somebody like Jasmine Crockett simply because she's a black woman, but she's dumb as a rock and she's corrupt, did you know, listen to this little factoid, ladies and gentlemen, Jasmine Crockett's grandmother died back in 2009. But guess what? They still have been collecting her Social Security all that time, every single month. Oh, well, we didn't recognize it. It just sort of we missed that. We overlooked that fact, she says. Oh yeah. And that's why you were cashing the checks. This is the level of corruption that we're dealing with. But the Democrats don't want to hear that. No, the libtards don't want to hear it. And you know what? A lot of the Republicans don't want to hear it either. I'm not just zeroing in on the liberal Dems. There are plenty of conservative Republicans that are just as corrupt and just as dirty, and they got to be exposed too. But again, and what's their explanation? I mean, when you confront them with that, what has that? What do you say?
Sorry.
We're
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
We're sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. You forced us all to take that hokey pokey thingy dingy, and many people now have myocarditis. They've had strokes. They've had heart attacks. We got sudden death syndrome, died suddenly, and many people are injured for the rest of their lives. Yeah. Well, geez, what do you say for that? What do you have to say for that?
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. That's all they say. It was an article in The Atlantic a couple months ago, basically saying, hey, let's just forgive and forget and move on. We don't want to talk about that anymore. Sort of like Ben Shapiro saying, oh, well, who cares who killed John F. Kennedy? That was 63 years ago. I don't think anybody cares about that. Who cares about the 9/11 attacks? That's ancient history. But the Holocaust. We could never forget the Holocaust. But forget about JFK. Forget about 9/11. Forget about what's going on in Palestine. Why? Because the Holocaust. The Holocaust. That's why. This is Ben Shapiro and the others of his ilk. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because you're part of the betrayal. And that's why I'm saying it's not just the liberals. It's the conservatives as well. And yeah, I know. Maybe for whatever reason, you're being squeezed. Maybe you've been bribed. Maybe that AIPAC money was more important than you standing in the truth and working towards the light. And again, I said it a little while ago in this broadcast, folks, humanity is at a crossroads. We're not going to survive this. I mean, if we don't solve the problem of this corruption, and if we don't change our course, humanity is doomed. We really are. And I don't mean to throw a damper on the situation here, but let's face it, any system that is based upon deceit and corruption cannot survive. And unfortunately, our global system depends upon deception, and it depends upon just brute force. The lust for money and power is it's obscene. And again, I've said it on this broadcast before. I mean, I know it's oversimplification, and I know it's a generalization, but common sense tells me that good people don't lust for money and power. Good people just want to go along to get along. Good people don't want to tell other people how to live. I just want to live my life. You live your life, no problem. I don't lust for money and power. So if good people don't lust for money and power, generally, who ends up with all the money and power? Bad people. And it's not just here in the United States, it's across the entire globe. Those who chase the material and the money, he who dies with the most stuff wins. No, he who dies with the most stuff missed the point. That's not why we're here. You can't take it with you. I know a whole bunch of people in my lifetime that I was directly connected with who unfortunately subscribe to that philosophy. I want the money. I want to have the nice cars. I want to have a nice house. I want to be able to go shopping for anything that I want, anytime I want. That's where it's at, huh? Well, guess what? I'm sorry, but, karma catches up to those people. And I know a couple of people directly involved in my life that subscribe to that philosophy, and they're no longer with us. For me, hey, I don't care. I'm driving around in a 2005 Toyota Highlander, and I'm dealing with rear end problems right now. My car runs great. It's just, and brakes and calipers and stuff like that. But no, I'm not driving any fancy car. I'm spending my time trying to find a second nickel so I have two of them to rub together. And I know that's the way it is for most Americans right now, too. But hopefully with the actions being taken with the tariffs, what Trump is doing, and I do believe in what he's doing is the right thing. Going back to the pre-Federal Reserve days, back in the late 1800s, America was doing really well financially. Yeah, we had some social issues that are pretty screwed up, but we got working on straightening those things out. But the bottom line here is before the Federal Reserve and the income tax, hey, everything was being funded in this country by tariffs. And we had a surplus. We didn't have a deficit. Well, along comes the Federal Reserve, the Rockefeller and the Rothschilds and all that. We all know the Carnegies and, the royal families up in up in Northern Europe. They all have their financial interests in the Federal Reserve. Anyway, so once they put that in place, yeah, that was the beginning of the end for our economic security, shall we say. So now, like I said, over the weekend, we got all these protesters out there condemning Trump. He wants to take it from the Internal Revenue Service. He wants to change it to the External Revenue Service. Hey, that's not such a bad idea. I agree with that. But unfortunately, like I said, when people are constantly guzzling the blue Kool-Aid from the fire hydrant of mainstream legacy media, they don't get it. They aren't going to get it. They're incapable of getting it. You can't make an informed decision without information. And the information that's being provided to them is misinformation, disinformation, and lies. And the sad thing is that they're projecting, the legacy media is projecting their lies over to the conservatives, saying, oh, the conservatives are lying. Trump is lying. Musk is lying. Well, guess what? You could say they're lying all day long. But what's happening is that they have the receipts now. They've got all the receipts. And it's just, it's I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. How do you convince these people who have been buying into this horse hockey that's been shoved down their gullet 24/7, 365 all their lives? How do you get them to understand? I think that, unfortunately, when you build your house on a faulty foundation, eventually that house is going to collapse. And so sometimes you just have to tear the house down and start over again. And a lot of people don't want to face that, I mean, if you built your house of beliefs on a faulty foundation, I mean, that's where we're at for a lot of people. And they just don't want to face the idea that they just may have to admit that, yeah, maybe this is wrong. Maybe this is screwed up. And if that's the case, then you have to reevaluate, reassess, and realign yourself. And that's what's happening. More and more liberals now are starting to realize how insane, how way, way over the top, out of control some of these liberal ideas are. Like I said, when Riley Gaines was on with Pierce Morgan, unbelievable. So yeah, they want to. I don't know. I'm going to end it here. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast. If you are, please share it with your friends and family. Go share our website, TheWTFReports.com. Do business with our sponsors, and keep the lights on here at this Wackadoodles place. All right, that said, we're done with our Monday edition of the WTF Reports. And please, once again, visit our website, do business with our sponsors. So, that's enough for today. I'll be back again tomorrow with more of the news I hope and pray you never hear. I'm Dave vonKleist. These are the WTF Reports. God bless you all. Stay safe. And above all, stay free.
You won't